Welcome back. February is American Heart Month, and this week the medical world is putting a special focus on a particular condition, babies with heart conditions. Congenital heart defects are known as holes in the heart, and almost 40,000 babies across this country are diagnosed with this every year, which is not a small number. HCA Health One pediatric cardiologist Dr. Mike De Maria joins us this morning. You work at Rocky Mountain Children's.
I do.
Thanks for coming in to talk about this. I feel like everyone knows a family or two that has kind of dealt with this before. Yeah. Let's start by just explaining congenital heart defect. What is that diagnosis if a family gets that?
Sure.
And when do they get it?
Well,
it's probably a wide range.
Yes. What it is a difference in the way the heart forms in utero. And so babies are born with this condition as opposed to acquired heart disease you would get after birth.
Okay. And is it as simple as there is just some sort of a hole that needs patched up in the heart?
Sometimes it's a really big variety of different kind of conditions. And sometimes they're diagnosed prenatally as when the baby is a fetus. So as early as 12 weeks, they can do scans to detect congenital heart
12 weeks?
Yes, 12
you
weeks.
Barely see a gummy bear on the ultrasound at 12 weeks.
Correct.
Wow, okay. Or they can catch it throughout later.
Yes,
Do a lot of families not find out about this until their child's older, though?
I would say currently, most conditions are diagnosed prenatally.
Okay, so we've got good enough ultrasound tech now.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, a family learns this information. What does it mean for the kiddo? Because that doesn't immediately show a symptom upon birth, right? Or does it?
Again, there's a big variety.
Okay.
Usually what it means is at some point in the newborn nursery, someone will hear a heart murmur or notice that the saturations are lower than they ought to be, and that kind of prompts a workup, a phone call to us.
And then what do you do with that information? What happens next once a child has that diagnosis?
Well, often we'll start with some testing, like do an ultrasound of their heart, which we call an echocardiogram or an EKG or something like that. And that's really the best test we can do to really understand how the heart's put together and how it's working.
Okay. Help me understand what this means for the patient itself. Like, does it, if not caught down the road, does it lead to a problem? Does it affect their heart function even as a baby? What does it do to have this problem? Yeah,
so congenital heart disease is the most common birth defect. It's 1% of the population.
Wow,
of kids who are born with heart conditions, 1 in 4 have to have some sort of intervention in the first year. So most don't need anything done, and we can just monitor them. But there's a subset who do need some sort of a procedure.
A procedure. Is it as simple as patch up the hole? That's what I've heard some families. A friend of mine had said it's kind of like a little patch that just goes right over.
It really is a little patch in some cases, yeah.
I can't imagine operating on little bitty babies, though.
It takes a really dedicated team, yeah.
Okay, okay. So I guess if a parent is going through, I don't want to scare anybody. This is something that as you are going through your prenatal visits, you might find this, but there are options here, right? Like, what would be your advice to a family that maybe gets this diagnosis? Well, what do you do with it?
I usually start by saying, treatments have gotten so much better. We're not focused on survival. That was a previous generation of cardiologists. I think now we're focused on optimizing their development. So the care is good. In the operating room, the surgeons are very adept. The ICU care is great. And then so infants are doing very well. Many are growing up to be adults. So it's really about understanding their development and optimizing their trajectory so they can do well in school and that sort of thing.
Play sports, use that heart to its best function.
Yes.
Do we have enough time of data to even say, okay, a little one had a procedure when they were tiny and then now they're a teenager or an adult? What does their heart look like as an adult after something like this?
Often, yes. I think there's been enough experience that we can kind of help predict, or at least a range of outcomes that we
Can they often live a pretty normal heart functioning life?
Absolutely.
That's exciting.
Yes, that's one of the rewarding parts of the job, is that kids are so resilient and they often do great.
What happens with the research around this kind of treatment now? Like, what do you think is the next 10 to 20 years of this?
Oh man.
Hard to know?
Materials science. Oftentimes we're using valves that were created and they're not perfect in the long term, so we just need more improvements in terms of the tools we have to fix things.
Because if you're going to fix a little kid when they're itty bitty and they got to live with it their whole life, right?
You want it to be a one and done.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, Dr. De Maria, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
We do a lot of focus on the heart on the month of February, so we can't forget the littlest hearts.
Right.
And what a joy probably to work with little bitty babies and see them do so well.
It's awesome.
So fragile, so fragile. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Pleasure.